Hook, imagine moving into a neighborhood you thought would be your safe haven. You saved, sacrificed, and finally unlocked the door to the home of your dreams. But instead of peace, you're greeted with hostility, lies, and a neighbor who seems to make it her mission to tear down everything you've built. Now picture that same neighbor calling the cops on you again and again, sabotaging your life, humiliating you in front of the community, until the day she discovers the truth. You own the very house she lives in, and her fate rests in your hands. Stay with me, because this is not just a story of conflict. It's about resilience, karma, and finding the strength to reclaim your power. The first week I moved into my new house, I was glowing with pride. It wasn't a mansion, but it was mine, and for the first time I felt like I had planted roots. The street was lined with trees, kids rode their bikes up and down the sidewalks, and I believed this was the kind of community where neighbors looked out for one another. That dream shattered the day I met her. Her name was Patricia, though everyone whispered Karen behind her back. She introduced herself with a scowl, not a smile. You know, the HOA doesn't allow trash cans to be visible from the street. She barked, pointing at the bin I hadn't even had the chance to roll into the garage yet. From that moment, she seemed to have me on a watch list. If I parked slightly crooked in my driveway, I'd get an HOA violation notice. If I left my porch light on past 10 p.m., she complained about light pollution. The most humiliating moment came when I was unpacking boxes late into the night, and suddenly flashing red and blue lights filled my yard. The police stood at my door, saying they received a report about suspicious activity. I looked past them and saw her standing there with folded arms, watching like she had caught a criminal. It didn't stop. Weeks turned into months, and every time I thought maybe she would calm down, she escalated. She accused me of lowering the property values with my choice of paint for the shutters. She left nasty notes on my door. She even spread rumors to other neighbors that I was trouble, and that the cops were at my house because of illegal activity. Each time, I swallowed my anger, told myself not to stoop to her level, and kept building my life brick by brick. But the stress was eating me alive. I dreaded walking outside. I second-guessed every move I made. My home, the place I worked so hard for, felt like a prison under surveillance. Then came the breaking point. One evening, she called the cops claiming she smelled smoke from my property. I was literally baking lasagna. The officers apologized but explained they had to check because of the report. I broke down after they left, wondering why this woman hated me so much. I thought about selling, walking away, letting her win. But something deep inside told me to hold on, that the story wasn't over yet. And I was right. Months later, I received an email from my property manager. See, what Patricia didn't know was that I wasn't just a homeowner. I was also an investor. I had bought a small duplex in the same town before moving into my new house, and I let a management company handle everything. Tenants came and went, and I never thought much about it. That email changed everything. It said one of the tenants was consistently late on rent, rude to maintenance staff, and violating lease agreements. The name on the lease: Patricia. My jaw dropped. Karen, the same woman who had made it her mission to destroy me, was living in my property. Suddenly, all those months of humiliation flipped upside down. The irony was almost too much to take in. She thought she held power over me with her HOA rules and false complaints, but legally, I held power over her entire roof. I didn't act impulsively. Instead, I watched. I let the property manager continue sending her notices. She ignored them, of course, the same way she ignored reason with me. But every late fee, every warning was documented. I knew the day was coming when I would finally face her not as her neighbor, but as her landlord. That day arrived when she called me. Yes, me. After the management company refused to grant her another extension. Her voice was dripping with entitlement. I need to speak to the owner, she demanded. I took a deep breath and calmly replied, Patricia, You are speaking to the owner. I'm your landlord. There was a long silence, and then, for the first time since I met her, she had no words. No insults. No complaints. Just stunned silence. From there, the balance shifted. I could have evicted her on the spot, but I didn't. Instead, I laid out the facts: pay your rent on time, treat people with respect, or you'll lose the home you live in. Her eyes, once filled with arrogance, now flickered with fear. She knew she had pushed the wrong person too far. Slowly, her behavior changed. She stopped harassing me. The HOA complaints vanished. The police never showed up again. She even began nodding politely when we crossed paths, though the tension lingered. She had learned the hard way that cruelty has consequences, and that the person you try to break might just be the one holding the strings to your future. Looking back, I don't see this story as revenge. It's not about celebrating her downfall. It's about standing firm when life pushes you to the edge. It's about trusting that patience and persistence can turn the tables without you having to lift a finger. Most of all, it's about remembering that sometimes, the people who try hardest to control you are the ones most afraid of losing control themselves. My home is peaceful again. And whenever I walk through my neighborhood, I remind myself that dignity, respect, and kindness always outlast cruelty. Because karma doesn't need an invitation. It shows up right on time. Closing message for viewers. This story isn't just about an HOA Karen or a landlord's twist of fate. It's about believing in your worth, refusing to let bullies define your life, and trusting that the truth always rises in the end. So if you're battling your own Karen right now, hold on. Your turning point might be closer than you think.